Hello and welcome. Now, we are going to be working with features in Evernote in order to collaborate with members of our team and, in some cases, members of our stakeholders or customers. So, in order to do that, we're actually going to use the Evernote business account almost exclusively. Now, there are workarounds for all of these things if you choose not to use Evernote for business. However, it'll be ideal in order to use some of the collaboration features that Evernote has and to take advantage of the shared workspace. So to get started, we're actually going to click Open Evernote. And since this is a business account, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go to our admin console. And what you'll notice is that there is an area for managing users. So if you don't have your current team members as part of your Evernote account, you want to add them. And so you're going to click Add Users. And what we're going to do is we're going to write their email address in here so that they'll have access to our Evernote business account. You'll see one email address in the dialog box. If you need to invite users in bulk, you can do that at this link. So what we're going to do with our second user is we're going to go ahead and click an invitation. And as a reminder, the individual that will be part of our account will be charged to the account that we are paying for. That individual will not be paying for the account. We will be paying for that individual to use it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to now go to the email address of the other team member. And you're going to notice that this individual has an email in their box that says that they're invited to join their company's Evernote account. We're going to go ahead and click that link just as if we were the team member. So if that individual already has an account, they'll just confirm it through their web browser. They'll be asked to enter their name. And then they'll be asked to give a personal email address. Then that individual, if they have an Evernote account already, they'll already have a personal account that they can access their personal information, and now they'll be using their business account with the email address that they signed up with. And now the individual is now signed up for Evernote Business, and then they'll click into the workspace. Now once the individual is logged in, they'll be able to find any available notes from the team as well as anything that has been published. So now that both individuals are now on Evernote and on the same shared workspace, you are now ready to collaborate. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we're going to give an overview of what the course is going to be about and its direction. Now this course will focus on Evernote as a way of creating a shared team space online to collaborate for ideas and workflow. It assumes that you have one of the paid versions of Evernote. However, there are numerous workarounds for each unique aspect of the course. Now, following the course will help you to use the features of Evernote to communicate with teammates better and to get work done faster. One of its chief benefits is going to be faster answers to team questions. And another benefit is going to be more clear direction on projects before deadlines. Basically, when it comes to collaboration, the course is really designed to show you how to get a team archiving and sharing just enough information to get the job done. Importantly, being able to use Evernote as a shared space means that teams will be able to follow their teammates' progress while the project is actually in motion. It allows for teams to avoid working in silos until the project is already done. And it answers the questions of whether or not a team or an individual is going in the wrong direction long before the end of a project. This means that teams will be able to use Evernote to complete more projects in less time. And whether a team is acting for its own benefit and profit or an organization is acting to serve its base, Evernote can help any team to be more effective with continuous communication and archive processes. Now, this course will help you to achieve this by showing you the technical processes you can undertake to adapt Evernote to meet your team's needs. And with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now, one of the basics in collaboration in Evernote is going to be your notebooks as well as your notes. And what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to share content with individuals inside of your team, but not outside. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new notebook by going to Notebooks, and then we're going to click Create a Notebook. We're going to give that notebook a title, and then we're going to click Create Notebook. Now, as soon as we get this notebook, what we can do is we have some options available. And we can exercise them by sharing the notebook. So we'll go to the menu that says Share, and we'll click Share Notebook. So we open the menu, we have the option of giving our other teammate the capability to edit and invite other people to share the content. What we can also give them is we can give them the opportunity to edit only or to view only. So you can individualize the permissions for everyone who's going to be on your team and how much information that they actually get. Now, the thing about business shared notebooks is that they will remain with the company. So if someone leaves, if they add things to the shared workspace, that information is going to stay with our team rather than go with that individual. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work with the person that already has access to our account, and we're going to give them access, and we're going to allow them to edit and invite other people to look at the notebook. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a message in here, and then we're going to click Send. Now at this point, the other individual can actually only see that notebook inside of a work chat. However, we want to make this notebook public for everyone who is on our team and who will eventually be on our team. And so to do that, we're going to come back to the Share menu. We're going to modify our sharing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to publish this to the company. And we're going to give this some context, and we're going to determine how much use they can have. And so we're going to give people the ability to edit, but not edit and invite. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to click the Publish button. And now that notebook is published. We're going to click Done. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the other individual to see what they're actually going to see. And when the individual logs in, they're going to need to check the business icon here. And then they're going to find all of the shared notebooks, including the one that we just created. And so these notebooks represent a clear separation, that these are going to be the notebooks where we collaborate with our team, and that the other notebooks are going to be worked with by the individual in their own personal life. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now that you have established that you have business notebooks, and those business notebooks will be available to certain individuals on the team on a certain project, what you are going to do is you're going to start collecting information, and you're going to collect that information through notes in the specific notebook pertaining to that project. So, for example, what you will do is you will go to the business notebook setting. You will find the project, and then you will click to add a note. And you'll find that at this plus button here. And you'll notice that note will be inside of the Low Carb Market Ideas project, which is a shared notebook. So we're going to give that note a title. And what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to write content, you're going to be able to share links, you're going to be able to share images, and any other notes that you have, and it's all going to be inside of the project file. You'll notice that each time that you want to create content, you'll get a WYSIWYG editor for that particular note. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put some content in here. We're going to include some hyperlinks. And then our note is ready to be complete. And so the other individual inside of our group will actually see the very same information inside of their screen. And so what you'll want to do is you'll want to encourage that every time that there is a new, that it comes with at minimum a title. So for example, you want the individual to actually write in their content and to make sure that it is written in to describe what the content is. and then we're going to click Done. Now what we'll want to see is that this information is available to the other team members. And indeed, when we refresh our page and we go back to the notebook, we'll see the newer content. Now, one way to make it easy to collect content and to place it inside of a note, especially when someone is in the web, you can actually use Evernote's Web Clipper. And Web Clipper is actually an app that you can find by going to the address evernote.com/products and Web Clipper. And when you grab the Web Clip, you will then add it to your browser. And then as you see information that you want to add on the web, what you'll do is you'll click this elephant. Then we can decide what we want to clip. We can actually add tags. And then we can always determine that we want this to be in a certain notebook whenever we find ideas. And we can set our default so that it always goes to the same project or notebook. Once we've done that and we click Save, then the process of collecting this web page and placing it inside of our notebook is occurring. Now this note actually went to our personal notebook, so what we're going to do is we're just going to switch this to our shared notebook so that it now becomes part of our running conversation with our team. And that means that other individuals can see it across all of their devices. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now, there is a strategy to being able to collaborate with the documents that you upload as notes into your notebook. And you want to encourage other members of the team to do the same thing. And there are two things in particular that you want to do. Number one is you want to make sure that each individual idea or action is actually placed inside of a note. So you want to avoid placing multiple items inside of a note. If you have something, you want to name it separately and create a new note for it. The second one is to actually create a table of contents. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to need to use the desktop app to complete this. Now you'll notice that we are inside of our notes view, inside of the notebook that we are working in. If you don't see this view, you are going to need to go to the View command, and you're going to need to open up the Note panel and the Note list. And then you'll see the notes that are associated with the shared notebook. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to click the first, the second and Control, and the third, and you're going to see them all highlighted in blue. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click Create a Table of Contents Note. And what that will do is that will actually give someone the quick links to being able to find the information inside of your notebook. Now you'll want to make sure that either yourself or someone is assigned to do this on a routine basis as content is being uploaded to the notebook. This will keep your collaboration easier within each notebook. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss organization, and we're going to focus on tags. This was discussed in the basic course, and it's something that needs to be standard practice within every notebook. Now, you'll notice here that there are two notes that do not have tags. Now that doesn't mean that this information will not be searchable. It will be. However, you want to make sure that you have tagged appropriately, especially for a specific workflow. So for example, within a notebook, you can take each individual note and you can actually tag it. Now for the tagging strategy to work effectively, you really do need to have followed the other aspects of this course, which is that every individual aspect of content that you are putting inside the notebook, you want to put it inside of one note. And then what that will do is that will find each individual item more findable when you actually do the search. For example, if we were to search these business notes and we were to write in here, alternative to low carb, you'll notice that even though this specific phrase does not appear in the article, nor does it appear in the note, it appears because of the tag, and it's also easy to find because it's within a note. So again, the most important aspect is the entire system. The entire system requires that you put individual items inside of your note, and then that you take each note and that you tag it appropriately. Now, one of the things that you want to do is you want to encourage your team to use tags that have already been done. And so you'll see that there are tags within your dashboard that have been used, and you want to try to reuse the tags because this will be the way that certain individuals will search, and it'll make their search more effective if you can tie all of the activity to things that have already been discussed. When you do this, as you can see here from the team members' search, this makes search a lot easier and more effective over time. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. We are going to talk about sharing documents internally that you don't want to share with the entire company. Now, you may want to share a notebook with certain individuals, but you don't want that individual shared with everyone on your team. If that's the case, you're still going to create a notebook for your team, and you'll create your notebook. And of course, you'll start by creating a note. And what we're going to do is we're going to give this note a title. Now we have our verbiage inside of this document. So what we want to do now is we just want to click Done. And what we want to do is we want to share everything in this notebook with certain individuals. However, we don't want it to be made public. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to share the notebook, and we're going to have that individual inside of what we're going to do is we're just going to make this viewable, and then we're going to write in a message. And what we're going to do then is we're going to click Send. Now in this particular case, if we were to look at this notebook and we were to go to Modify Sharing, what you'll see here is that this notebook has not been published. However, we can show this content and this notebook to individuals that are going to have continuous access to it, and they'll be able to view it. We can actually change this to edit if we want. And so what we've done is we've actually set up a way to have a personal or private conversation with one of the team members without the entire team being involved ahead of time. And there are going to be cases where it would be inappropriate to share certain information with your entire team. And we're then going to click Done. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we are going to talk about ways that you can use the shared interface in order to assign tasks and notes to certain individuals. Now, one of the best ways of being able to do this inside of Evernote is that wherever you have a particular note, when you've had discussion about it, what you can do is you can begin to add tags to the individual's name. So, for example, in this particular case, we might write in Harlan Johnson, who might be one of your team members. And you can do this with any post that you have assigned to this individual. And so what this does is this makes it so that you can actually then make a notebook searchable by writing in the person's name and any of the tags associated with them. Now we can make this process even easier by creating a saved search and then clicking New Saved Search. And we can rename this search any way that we want. And of course, when the other individuals on our team are searching, they're using the name, they'll be able to find it easily with the tag. Now there's one more element in making an assignment to a specific individual. If we have a note in particular and we've already tagged it, one other thing that we can do is we can actually go to this drop-down menu and we can click Reminder. And what we can do is we can add a specific date. By adding a specific date, what we're doing is we're making the individual responsible and tagged for something that's going to happen on a specific day. What we're going to do is we're going to give it a date, and you'll notice that this note now has a reminder date of 1/17. Now we can choose to receive an email on the day that it's due, but if we're not the one that is actually being assigned to the task, doing that would be optional. So those are the ways in which you can use Evernote within a shared notebook in order to assign someone to the specific content of that note. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we are going to discuss how you can collaborate in real time with members of your team. Now, one of the things that Evernote actually gives you is something called Work Chat. Work Chat is available in the web app or the browser, and all you've got to do is click this Work Chat button, click this Start a Chat, and then you can actually write in the individual's name. Now, if that individual's name is on your team, they will be available in this area. If you're using the desktop app, what you'll need to do is to go to the File command, then you'll need to open up a new chat, and then you'll need to write in the name in this area. The same is going to be true inside of your mobile device. In order to access Work Chat, you are going to need to go to your Account button, and then you're going to need to click the Work Chat, and then you can start a new Work Chat by clicking this plus sign, and then you're going to click Let's Do It. Now, Evernote will allow you to start this conversation with people outside of Evernote. But in this particular case, we're looking to collaborate with people who are already on our team. So in this case, we are just going to write in the name of our teammate, and you'll see then that there is the chat that appears also in the web app as well as on your desktop. And when the message is sent, it can be seen in the Work Chat area for the sender. There will be a notification in the sidebar for the receiver, who can then answer right back. Now, any sharing that takes place in the chat will actually be done from the actual note or notebook. So for example, if you're looking at the web application, there is no way to send files. Now you can send links inside of a work chat, but for the most part, if you're going to want to send something from inside of Evernote, you'll go to that source and then send to this individual. So in other words, I'd come back to either an article, and then I can actually send this note. I'm going to send this again to this individual with the parameters that I set. Or I can really share the entire notebook once I set the parameters. And what happens is that all of this is really happening in real time, whether or not the receiver or the sender is going to be on their desktop using the web app or their mobile device. And you can see here that the updates are going to be instantaneous. So if you want to collaborate in real time and you want to have conversation with the other individuals in your team and use the shared workspace inside of Evernote, you'll want to use the Work Chat feature. Now this feature is available not only to those in the business level of Evernote, but also in the free version. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, in this video, we are going to be talking about working on shared documents. Now, there are a number of ways to share documents, and when we create a new note inside of a business notebook, for example, we create a note, we place that note in one of our business notebooks, and then we write a title. Now, when we open up this document, we are going to want to make sure that we're not working in Internet Explorer or Firefox. We need to be working in Google Chrome or some other browser that is supported by both Drive and Evernote, because we're going to take advantage of the integration. And in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to insert a document from our Drive, and we're going to insert it. Now, the only disadvantage to using Google Docs in this case is that the content inside will not be searchable. The title will be searchable, any tags will be searchable, but the document itself will not be searchable. However, one of the things that we can do is we can open up this document, and we can actually give other people on our team the opportunity to work on the document. So when we share this document with others, we're going to put their name and email address in, And then we're going to actually give them the opportunity to edit the document. Now, this means then that when they get the document inside of Evernote, not only will they be able to work on it, but they'll also be able to edit it and make changes to the actual document. This makes the shared workspace even more powerful because not only will you be able to comment on it with your team, but you'll also be able to work on the document and correct it in the team. What you'll want to do is to make sure that you are keeping track of the changes to the document and that you'll want to have a procedure in place so that people are communicating the changes that they actually make. However, this does not overshadow the fact that this gives us the opportunity to work on the document as well as to share it. And we can change those options in the advanced section. We can go a little further and prevent editors from changing access or adding new people, as well as disabling options to download, print, and copy. Again, this is not something that you have to do, but there are options that you have in terms of giving people permission to use the document and work on it. Now, there are a couple of things that you'll want to note. The other individuals working on the document, they are going to need to work in their Google Drive account in order to make changes to the document, and you are going to have to be using Google Chrome to be able to participate in working on this document using the Google Drive integration link. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. One of the more effective ways to speed up the productivity of a particular project can be to communicate audibly. And you can do that inside of Evernote, inside of any note, inside of your business notebooks. To do that, what you're going to do is click New Note, and then you're going to determine that that note belongs inside of your business notebook. You're going to give your note a title, as you always do. You'll add some text for context. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click this microphone and record audio. You'll click the record button, and then you'll speak directly into Evernote. And you will determine how long your message should be, and then you'll click Save. Evernote will then create a file, and this file will then be available on both the mobile device as well as in your web application. So what we're going to do now is we're going to close out this note, and then we're going to sync up with our other devices. And you'll see our note here in our business notebook as well as our text. Now, these files are fairly large and do take up space. So when you're not using them, you may want to go through a process once a week or once a month where you actually delete voice notes when you're no longer using them. And you can do that by going to the search bar, writing in WAV for wave, and then you'll find all of the voice notes where you are putting them inside of your notebooks. You can get this particular thought, any one of the three, and then you can delete them. This will mean then that you'll have less concern for space as you delete the audio for projects that you have completed. And you can actually do the same kind of search inside of the desktop app. You can find all of the WAV files and you can delete them once you have completed the task that they are concerned with. So this is a great way of being able to communicate with outsourcers or employees or even staff and their team. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. One of the key aspects to working with Evernote in a team situation is the shared and personal space. Now, you'll notice here that inside of your account area, your account settings, there is a place at the bottom that allows you to move notebooks from another account into your business account. But you'll want to pay very close attention to something that Evernote says. Notebooks that you move will belong to the company. You will not be able to move them back to your personal space. And notes and links will not be preserved. Now, we are now in the home screen of the actual person that's technically a team member that we've been working with throughout this course. And you'll notice that this individual doesn't have any personal notebooks. They also don't really have any personal notes. That means then that they would be unable to take anything from this account to another account. Everything that they have and that they have contributed to has actually come under the team. And this means then that they will not be able to port this information to another account. So perhaps not everything that you're doing is going to be for your business. If that's the case, you want to keep them in your personal space in Evernote. If it's for your business or it's for the team, you'll want to keep it in the team space. And you'll want to encourage those that you're working with, as you would this team member that we're looking at their web app, to do the very same thing. And this is a great way of being able to guard the information that you have built up for your team projects that remains with your team and it doesn't leave with the individual. Now, the only thing that you're able to move are going to be notebooks and notes. You're not going to be able to move chats or anything else that you're doing in Evernote. So in closing, you want to make sure that when you're collaborating with others in Evernote, that you make a clear separation between what's part of the team and what's personal, and that you encourage others to do the same. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using a naming convention for documents and files that you upload into Evernote in the team shared space. Now we've already discussed the fact that you and your team should place individual items inside of one particular note, and that those notes were sometimes searchable in the case of an Office document, and sometimes they weren't in the case of a Google document. But now, how should you classify those specific documents within the actual note? And this is important because when a project extends for a long period of time, you can have a lot of notes and not all of them will be relevant, and it can actually clog the search when you're actually trying to find something specific. What you want to do is to use a naming convention for the individual files within the note, and then make sure that you communicate that naming convention to your entire team. This will make it easy to find specific pieces of content within the Evernote search engine. Now what you want to do is to be intentional and specific about any file name posted within the shared workspace. And that's whether or not you're posting an image, you're posting a Microsoft Word document, a PDF, whatever it is that you are posting, you want to be intentional and specific about the file name, or as intentional as you can be. So let's talk about the basics of a naming convention. Anytime you put a character in the file name, that will actually be the first level of sorting. So if you put a period in the file name, then the actual search engine will look to that period, or it'll look to the character first. The second level will be numbers. So if you use a number convention, in that particular case, if you use a number like 0001 or 0002, that will actually sort at the second level. So that is another way of being able to make your file names unique. When you actually place words in your file names, you want to extend and use dashes between the alphabet letters. And then you want to make use of capital letters because this will make it easy to visualize what you're actually seeing. Now, when you're working to be a little more advanced, the key is going to be consistency in exercising the naming convention. So what you can do is you can add in a word that represents a date. So that the words you can add in a numerical date or even a month and a date. You can add in a project code. And again, the key is going to be consistency. And this will again make your searching easier across your notebooks. You can add in a teammate code. So if you have a team that's been together for a specific period of time, you'll not only want to use the tagging, but in the specific file name, you want to actually use that teammate code because again, that will make finding the document as easy as it is. That's really the reason why we want to go as far as to put a naming convention together for the actual documents that go within the notes in Evernote. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about creating artifacts. And obviously, in creating a naming convention, the goal is not to take every single piece of content and to spend all of your time naming files. However, you do want to make sure that those things that are going to remain a permanent part of your record, you want to make sure that you take the time to archive them properly. So for example, if we were to go to our search in Evernote and were to find all of the JPEG files, we would find that some of those files are worth archiving and making an artifact, and others are probably not worth our time. So for example, we might see a file that looks like this, which is just basically a header. We would probably not archive or create an artifact from this. However, we might find that there is an image that we actually will. We find that image, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the time and we are going to work with the tools in Evernote. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to right click this image and we're going to add in the name of the image that we want. And so you'll notice that this is called Evernote Snapshot. Well, we're going to change that to be something that's going to be more relevant to the project. So what we'll do is we'll take the image and we will rename it as according to our own naming convention, but we give it a searchable name. So we're going to go ahead and then click OK. We might then want to also write notes on the image. We can do that with the annotate feature inside of Evernote. And it'll give us a picture of the image, and what we can do is we can actually write in what we want to take note of about this image. And so we can write in something that probably represents what we want to remember about a specific image. Now again, we're writing this in because we know that this is going to be something that we're going to be keeping a long time. Some of the images and some of the other data, we don't necessarily have to find it after a project is over. However, those things that we want to keep and we want to make sure that they're available after a project is over, we want to archive them properly. And once we've completed our annotations, we're going to go to File, and then we're going to click Save and Exit. And basically what we've done is we've made this image even more findable than it was before. And again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that if we're going to have a document that's going to remain for a long period of time, even after the project is over, we want it to be very findable, and we can always do that by annotating as well as renaming a specific image. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. When we are collaborating with specific individuals inside of Evernote, one of the things that we can do is we can use the features in order to create our own training center. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go into our business notebooks and we're going to open up one of them here. Now we could theoretically take one of our notebooks and dedicate it to the training process. And so what we would do is we would take all 4 of these items first, everything that we would be using for training in our training notebook, and first turn them into a table of contents. Now obviously we'd have to use the desktop app in order to do that, so let's go to the desktop app. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take all 4 of these items, then we're going to create a table of contents notes. Now if we go back to our table of contents, you'll notice that we have all 4 documents there, and they're all linked inside of the table of contents. Now what you'll want to use next is some kind of screen recording system so that you can take this next step and add it to this notebook, which will be your training center. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to highlight those same 4 notes, and then we're going to click Start Presentation. And what you're going to see is you're going to notice that the information is now presented. You have your pointer that you can move around here. You can actually scroll through each note. And basically, you are going to be walking through the importance of each note, explaining it, and then adding it to video. Now, you will need some application to record what you're talking about. You'll probably need at least 2 monitors or screens to do this most effectively. But what you'll have is an effective training video based on what you have inside of your notebook. So any notebook where you choose to put relevant content inside, create a table of contents, walk through a presentation, can be a training center. And of course, you can always take notebooks and use your stack in order to create series of trainings for those who are going to be on your team. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we're going to be talking about interfacing with customers and suppliers and people outside of your team and your business. And there are going to be cases where you're going to have notes where you're going to want to share with other people, but they may not have Evernote, nor are they part of your team, even if they do. And you can do that. If you're looking at the note that we're looking at right now, all you would need to do is you would need to go to this drop down arrow, which is your share area. And one of the first ways that you can do that is you can copy a share URL. And once you copy that URL, then you can actually share that URL with someone that doesn't have Evernote, nor do they have access to our team information. And that link that we shared, this is what it would look like to someone who just received the link and there was no requirement for them to have Evernote. We can also send a copy by email, and we can do that in this menu. As you can see, in this email note, there is no requirement for the person to have an Evernote account. They're going to get a link to the actual image. You can actually copy yourself on it, and then you can send it out in this way. Now we can also share an entire notebook. And if we right-click the notebook, and then we click Share Notebook, once again, using this feature, we do not have to have someone to have an Evernote account, and we can determine what it is that they're going to be able to do and have access to. Now, if the customer or supplier has Evernote, we can share this notebook. And actually what's going to happen is it's going to convert into a work chat. We've seen this in previous videos. So if you know their email address and they already have an Evernote account, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be sharing this notebook within Evernote, even though they are outside of our business technically. And finally, it is permissible for an individual to be able to interface with us, with our business content, and have a free account. So in other words, if that person is outside of our team, they don't have to have a business account in order to be able to have the information we're going to be sharing with them. They can have a free Evernote account and experience our content seamlessly. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. You've probably noticed that to interface with a maximum number of people in the work chat, which is inside of Evernote, you will need to have contacts that are already there. If you don't have a lot of contacts, that might be difficult for you to be able to share using these features. However, there is a way for you to be able to get more of your contacts connected into Evernote. In order to do that, we're going to need to go to our account area. Specifically, we're going to need to go to the settings. And one of the first things that you can do is you're going to notice that we have a certain number of connected services. First, our connected service is going to be our Google Drive, and that actually connects our contacts. And we have those contacts, they're going to be part of our Evernote if they have an account. Another way to get more of our contacts would be for us to connect inside of LinkedIn. So when we make that connection, we'll be able to multiply some of our connections. And the same is going to be true if you are a user of Salesforce. Those are ways for you to get more of your contacts into Evernote. But now you'll notice that Google is here, but Microsoft is not. And a number of people actually use Microsoft Office. So how would you get your contacts from Microsoft Office into Evernote? Well, one of the ways that you can actually do that would be to import them into your Gmail account. So we're actually going to show you how to do that right now. You're looking at a Gmail account, and what we would do is go to this drop-down arrow and then go to the contacts. Once you get to your contacts area, you're going to look to the More area, and you're going to see a command here that says Import. You're going to go ahead and click that link. And what you're going to do is you're going to import your contacts from either Yahoo, from Outlook, and from AOL. You can actually import them from other email providers as well as a CSV file. What that will do is that will get all of your contacts into Google, and then you will be able to resync that account into Evernote. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now that you've seen the technical steps of collaboration inside of Evernote, it's time to now take those concepts and to apply them to help you to become more efficient in the future. And you'll want to start considering taking some of the processes that you are integrating in Evernote every day and turning them into templates so that you can use them over and over again. Now, templates in Evernote are typically created by users of Evernote, users of your process, members of your team. These templates are not specific to Evernote. They can be used in any system, but they are extensively used by Evernote users. The templates that you create for your processes should be document-based, either word processed or presentation style. Now, a template should carry timeless information. That means that later on, 6 months to a year later, someone could pick it up and use it. The point of putting a template together is so that you'll be able to use it in the future to make it easier than starting and inventing another process from scratch. And the idea should be team specific. What process in your team depends on a routine executed by the team or its members? The question is, what routine process could you pass on and outsource as a team? What is it that you're doing that someone else could be doing later in the future? Now, as a team grows and matures, templates can be easily passed on to others to do the process. Now, in Evernote, templates should be kept for a team in a specific folder when it's created. Now, another way to think about these templates is that you are documenting tedious processes that depend on all of the steps being followed correctly. A template is simple for any team member to work on and be fairly consistent to what the team has already been used to. And yet another way to think about creation of templates is to pass on some of the knowledge to the team and to keep it archived even if those team members go away or they choose to become part of another team. The templates stay resident within the business notebooks and therefore become the team's knowledge. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now, we've already discussed how you would create a template in order to use for future collaboration. Now, how do you take previously created templates and use them to be more effective in your teamwork? Now, again, the need for most templates will be team specific. So there'll be things that you will need in order to get something done that you are uncomfortable with your efficiency. A team can get help from other templates that have been created before through Google searches. For example, if you were to search free Evernote templates, you'll find a number of results, and you can actually whittle this down by putting in or your team's specific need. In any case, you can find Evernote templates that have been created by other users for their business, and in some cases, it will help you and something that you were trying to do. In most cases, you will want to keep a library of documented procedures and processes for your team. These are going to be your previously created templates. Whenever you have a new team member, you like to have them use templates instead of recreating a process. So you want to have these templates, and this is a great way of being able to put the templates to use. Now, solo businesses typically don't have a formal onboarding process when someone joins their company or the team. But you can lessen the need for an onboarding program by utilizing the templates your team has already created. Now, concepts mentioned earlier in this course, such as naming conventions, those are great ideas for templates so that you'll show people how your team should be naming files, how your team should be naming documents. Now, this is because the team benefits from everyone handling similar situations in the same basic steps. The templates allow for the formation of special projects with specialized procedures and many times pieced together from successful tasks done in the past. Now, although your individual note stream in Evernote serves as a roadmap for the past, it's inefficient to create new procedures. If you had to search through all of the old notes in order to find something specific, and to be able to piece it together to determine what to do in the future, that would take a long time and would probably be almost impossible to do. Having a template in place, though, makes this process very easy. And as a result, the best way to create new methods and new processes is to use templates that have already been created and archived in your team area. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing managing joint team expenses. Now, while there are no specific features in Evernote that hold members fully accountable, there are easy to use processes that allow for the team to keep others in the loop in terms of spending. Now, Evernote allows for document scanning and uploading of receipts after a purchase is made. It also allows for the notebooks to be created for purchase research and comments from other team members. So where pricing and value can be obtained in greater quantities, team members can provide input and pool their contacts and resources prior to purchases. Now, to manage teams' expenses in Evernote, here's what you can do. First, you can ask for feedback before a purchase is actually done in a work chat. Now, that work chat can be done in real time, or that work chat can be asynchronous when people have time to actually answer. The work chat can also include a sales rep who can be invited to answer the team's questions. You can also set up notebooks for input prior to purchase. Evernote notes should include teammates' product research. So if someone is doing pricing or value and someone actually knows something, all of the notes should be included in a specific conversation. Any special contacts that a teammate has, that should be included as part of the conversation. Any specific industry knowledge about the purchase should be included as part of the discussion, again, prior to the purchase. And of course, similar to calling for feedback, requests for knowledge can be requested from any one person with a sales representative through the work chat in Evernote. These are all good ways of being able to hold expenses down and to hold teams accountable by the continuous communication that Evernote brings. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. In conclusion, whether you choose to use the paid or free version of Evernote, you've now seen how to collaborate. Just the ability to use notebooks or notes and work chat, those things can revolutionize an organization all by themselves. Understanding how to archive as the activity is occurring gives a team one place to seek its information. And this makes it more likely that the team is going to provide their input whether they're asked or not. Now, you've seen that notes can be tagged and tied to individuals with deadlines, so that even though Evernote is not a task builder, it can be used to manage people's activity. As was said earlier, being able to use Evernote as a shared space means that teams will be able to follow their teammates' progress while the progress is in motion. We've seen that the use of the work chat feature allows for both real-time and asynchronous communication, again, while the project is actually happening. It allows for teams to avoid working in silos by keeping each event archived in a note saved to a business notebook. And because all team members are alerted to updates, a team's communication can be as continuous as a project requires it to be. And finally, you saw the power of being able to document and archive processes and keep them within the team space, minimizing information overload. And with that, thank you for your attentiveness, and I will see you either in another video or in another course.